We're going to jump right into our next Fireside. And for this one, I'd like to bring on Vivek from Etherealize. And we're going to go do a round 2 of institutional capital and see if we can get some more predictions. So please give Vivek a big round of applause.
It's all good. Hello?
All right. It's been a pretty impactful last few months for Etherealize. And you've been in the news a lot. And we want to cover all the things that you've been up to. But the thing I want to start off with is actually asking you how you got into the Ethereum ecosystem and what made you become such a big advocate and sort of convince the Wall Street people to look at this thing called ETH.
It's, well, first, good seeing you. It's the first time meeting Kartik, way long overdue. Thanks for supporting us. It's a different kind of journey into Ethereum. I mean, I would say it's a pragmatic journey. So I'm a pragmatic maxi, not a just like ideological.
Good thing we're at an event right now.
That tried to do a pun. No, I spent my first like 10, 11 years on Wall Street, right across the river. And I hopped around a lot. I was at Morgan Stanley, UBS, Deutsche Bank, Nomura, in the engine room, on the trading floors, trading really just complicated products like credit derivatives, loans, bonds, CDS. I mean, everything really. And it was one of the coolest places to work right out of school for a decade, and some of the smartest, sharpest, hungriest people. But it's literally the most technologically backwards place I've ever, like, I just thought every year I was like, oh, they're gonna modernize the bond market, they'll modernize the stock market, like all this stuff will be digital, and just kept getting worse. And I was just like, after a decade, I was like, this is never gonna upgrade ever. And I drank the Kool-Aid while I was on Wall Street, and I thought Bitcoin and ETH were a scam. So like that's where I started. And then I finally somehow, no one does this, but I hit the eject button, like exited Wall Street, exited New York City.
What year is this?
2019, 2020. Hit the eject button, landed in Austin, and then met this guy who worked at this thing called the Ethereum Foundation randomly, and he was working under this guy named Danny Ryan on this thing called the Merge. And I was like, okay, this thing's kind of cool. Let's actually like dive in. I'm doing nothing now. And then it just clicked. The second I saw Ethereum, the second I did my first Uniswap transaction, I was like, well, this is the answer to upgrading the entire financial system. Like, it just made all the sense in the world. So why am I an ETH maxi? Why am I on the mission to convince Wall Street to use this technology? Because it's the only way Wall Street's ever going to upgrade its systems, and it's the clearest product market fit. I don't want to put a wet blanket on Ethereum. Like, Ethereum is a world computer. It can do anything. It can absolutely do everything. But like, I think we need to focus on big use cases, and I think upgrading the global financial system is a pretty big use case, and it's a pretty cool mission. And it was ironic because now I'm back in New York City talking to all the banks again, and kind of doing the same thing, but from
the other side
perspective.
Well, so it's an interesting point. So is your claim that the best way to operate the existing financial markets and just the tech is simply offer something that's just faster to iterate? Or is it the fact that like you genuinely think that the tech stack is so archaic that you need a much more programmable operating system, so to speak, to let all the financial world be represented again?
No, I think it's the only way to upgrade the financial system. Like,
but is it an upgrade or is it a replacement? Because you're effectively swapping.
No, it's an up. That one thing I think this is where the pragmaticness comes in. One thing the crypto native people that have been here way longer and are way more deep in the ecosystem than I have been. They say you replace things. That's not a good sales pitch. No, we're upgrading financial system. We're like making everyone's lives better. We're making everyone across the river make more money, be able to do more trades, be able to you're improving the flow of assets and funds, and that's a very, very good thing. So it is an upgrade, but like we also have to remember that the U.S. capital markets are the best capital markets in the entire world. So if we're not doing something that's radically better for everybody, then no one's going to have any uptake. And that's why it's been hard for 4 years. I've been trying the same thing. Like Etherealize, we started a year ago, but that's because I spent 3 years coming back to Wall Street being like, hey, do you guys want to try Ethereum? And I literally got kicked out of all, like I burned a lot of reputation. I went to all my friends. I was like, hey, look at this ETH thing and Ethereum thing. So I've been rejected a lot. So last year when I stopped getting rejected and suddenly people were like, wait a second, like BlackRock just tokenized a money market fund and
You say like, what was that flipping point? Is it?
it was last year. It was the ETH ETFs getting approved and BlackRock tokenizing BUIDL. That's when people started paying attention. And when people started paying like, I've traded long enough, you sense an actual inflection point. And I was like, this is the actual inflection point. And so started doing a lot of diligence for Etherealize and got the grant from Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation, which I'm very grateful for. It kickstarted a lot of things because Wall Street won't take you seriously if you're just a dude walking in. But if you're like, hey, like, there's a whole ecosystem behind us. They care, and there was no one else really representing Ethereum to Wall Street at the time.
Yeah.
So I did that and had ridiculous uptake, and then obviously the election happened, and then it went from trepidation to complete FOMO, and I was like, okay, let's supercharge this effort, and we have a window, and the risk is that the window goes badly, and like the wrong technologies or like centralized technologies.
You don't want just the loudest mouth to be the winner. Yeah.
No, because then we don't upgrade the financial system. Then it all breaks again. We had a shot at it last cycle. It ended in FTX, and so clearly that didn't work. So let's actually use a real system that's decentralized. And I think Ethereum's the only option. There's nothing else that even comes close. And so that's something that's really, really deep and important to me, and that we need to integrate with Wall Street ASAP now that the window's open.
Yeah, some would say there is no second best.
I read today. It's one of the best framings. I've never met a ETH maxi that ever became a Bitcoin maxi, but we've met a lot of Bitcoin people that become ETH people. Like ETH really is the end game because it's the technology and it's the asset. So I mean, there is a reason we're seeing it now finally after like a year of just banging the drum on this, that people are starting to wake up. Wall Street's starting to wake up and be like, all right, great. We have these Bitcoin treasury companies. We have Bitcoin ETFs. We get digital gold, but you can do a lot of stuff with this ETH thing. So a lot of what's happening is like rotating into what the actual end game is, and it's cool. It's inspiring.
I mean, it's awesome for us to see because we've been trying to do this every year and just seeing what the sentiment is, what people are thinking, how the conversations go, and suddenly like everything just starts to work and you start getting yeses, and it's a very visible inflection point from kind of all ends. I guess my obvious question to you, which I think the audience would love, is what is Etherealize and what are you building?
We had a really open mandate when we started. I mean, first, when we started, the ETH ETFs had launched, and Anthony Pompliano was the representative, and he went on CNBC and talked about Bitcoin and Solana, and that was like a breaking point for a lot of the community. So, some OGs, Grant Hummer, one of them, tapped me and was like, "Hey, you're a new guy. Do you want to take Ethereum to Wall Street?" And I was like, that sounds awesome. I've been trying this for a long time, so let's actually formalize it. So at that point, Etherealize's main mission was, I mean, for better or worse, evangelizing Ethereum to Wall Street. So like going and talking about ETH asset, why it's a great store of value asset, talking with the Ethereum ecosystem and what you can do with it. I mean, Base had launched already, 44 had happened already. So you can point to L2s, you can point to customized blockchains, tokenization was happening. So there's a lot of case study to go run around with. So I did that for several months. But that doesn't really accomplish Ethereum's potential. So especially after the election, after like we got some good traction and launched and saw that the community, and I thank the community, like everyone was really receptive and encouraged, then it all comes full circle. Danny Ryan happened to be around, and so he and I linked up, and I was like, okay, maybe we can together turn Etherealize into both an evangelism and marketing company, but also into a product company. Like, let's actually build the things that can bring Wall Street onto Ethereum, from tokenization to trading to settlement. Because if that doesn't happen this cycle in this window of opportunity, it might never happen. So like there is a lot of urgency. Like ETH price going up is great. Ethereum ecosystem being in vogue again is great. I think that was like a lot of just running around and evangelizing.
Rough last 2 years.
Yeah, but now it's time to build. Like now we have this window, and there's a window where Ethereum can be the clear winner. So yeah, what is Etherealize becoming now? Like we're going to race to rewire as much of Wall Street infrastructure as possible, and put it onto Ethereum rails. And that it's going to take a lot of dirty work, a lot of back office stuff, a lot of building. But we want to do all that. So that's what we're now becoming.
So is there a particular set of product that you kind of are going to announce or launch, or is it a key thing? Like, what's the category of support for kind of financial institutions and Ethereum, or just on-chain stuff that you get to work on?
There's three. I leave it purposely open because I think crypto's also done this thing, again, pragmatically, that we've historically built things and said, hey, use this, and then no one's allowed to.
A solution looking for a
Yeah,
problem.
so we're trying to do the exact opposite. We are doing the exact opposite. We're going around finding all the problems across Wall Street, and we're like, okay, there are patterns here, so we can build some solutions. So what are the tool sets we can have? One are different ways of tokenizing assets. I mean, this only works if we tokenize the entire world of assets and put them onto Ethereum, ideally on Ethereum L1, and then they can trade everywhere across L2s and apps and everything. So tokenization on L1 is one big thing, and then all the different mechanics, because there's a lot of different kinds of assets, equities, fixed income, etc. Second is you have this arsenal of L2s. So these can trade either on L1 or they can trade on L2s, and L2 customization. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, but like connecting the dots between institutions and L2s, that's really important. The fact that Robinhood picked Ethereum is great. The fact that Coinbase picked Ethereum is great. The fact that JP Morgan's deploying stablecoins on Base is great. It's not great that Circle and Stripe chose L1. So like there's a lot of wood to chop there, but L2s are another tool in the toolbox. And then the third thing is privacy. I mean, that privacy was literally illegal, which is wild for the last several years. And now Hester Pierce is doing speeches about how things on chain need to have privacy. So that's a very, very open design space to have institutional grade privacy. ZK proofs are now ready enough to be able to bring to production. So we're working on that product suite too. So a mix and match of all of that should be able to like make Ethereum a black hole for institutional assets and trading. So that's what we're working on.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a pretty good set of obvious kind of problems that you get to supplement. Um, walk me through what are their reactions and just general asks when you talk to a financial institution. You kind of propose, hey, you can now do this on chain or as a set of contracts. What's kind of the set of things that they're looking to do now, like in the immediate term, and also any common concerns that you keep hearing, and whether that's like just misinformation versus like just lack of capability.
Yeah, like it's been an uphill battle and now it's starting to become downhill. At first it was just why would we even use public blockchains? Why Ethereum? I'd be like, Ethereum's been around 10 years. They're like, well, the price is down. So we had to go like, we're like, okay, well, let's go try and help fix the price and help. And we did a lot of stuff for that too. I mean, I think the treasury companies are a really good thing because I actually think they're going to be the stimulus package that go into ETH L1 DeFi. So we're actually going to see like the next complaint will be fees are too high and the TVL is going to
Cycle repeats.
Yeah, the cycle repeats. But no, so now that the wins that are back, they want to tokenize everything. They want to tokenize everything and then upgrade their systems. But that's the problem space. Like it is pretty cool because no one really knows what they want. That's scary in some sense, but it's also an unbelievable opportunity. So that's why like half our team are people like Danny, Ryan, and Zach Oberon and Grant, who are like the deepest. I mean, it's a dream to have all those people on an engineering side.
For context, Danny was a product manager for the entire ETH 2.0 merge effort and helped sort of get us to proof of stake.
Yeah, it's insane. But the other half is really, really, really esteemed Wall Street people, and that's also equally important. Like people that I dreamed to work for when I worked on Wall Street, they're all helping grow the Ethereum ecosystem. So we have to use capital markets expertise and what's technologically possible, and think about like what is the right architecture, and then bring that to people. So it's on us to define as well, but which is a cool problem statement.
So one thing, so institutions coming into the Ethereum world has been like a very recurring theme today. We've had at least 3 talks on this that kind of end up touching on this. My question to you is, as we kind of think about this, and if you're proposing more financial institutions should be on chain, what is a version of fragmentation that looks like? I guess what does fragmentation look like now? Is that a problem? Does it matter? Do we kind of care if everything is represented in their own way? And we have to kind of think about bridging, or just the same asset could be called something else by 2 different places. Do we get a weird world where now everybody has their own thing and we have to still make things compatible, or is that not an issue?
No, it's a huge issue. I like my whole problem. The reason I came in pragmatically again is because I want to make the financial system better. There are a lot of versions where the financial system ends up being worse because you have a bunch of blockchains are worse than centralized systems on almost every single account except for security and decentralization, the things that actually matter. So if we have like half-assed blockchain/centralized servers that have some tokens on them that have to talk through trusted parties to other centralized. That's not a good world. We may as well just go back to Nasdaq. Like again, the bar is very very high for the U.S. capital market. So yeah, I mean, you had asked earlier what are barriers that we're seeing. One is privacy. People want their assets private. I think that's solvable now. Another one is KYC and identity. That's also going to be solvable. They'll be standardized. But yeah, the third thing is fragmentation of liquidity, and that's why like as many wins as we get, I feel the most urgency I've ever felt now that things are going well for like ETH narrative, because yeah, when you see Circle and Stripe having L1s, you're like, okay, well, that's going to fragment a lot of liquidity. So like that, either you need trusted bridges and then you're back to, I mean, or
Yeah, but it's not an upgrade.
yeah, but the only way this works, which I genuinely believe, is if we dump all the assets on Ethereum L1 and then have a bunch of different L2s that can plug with various customization, and then you're gonna have interop. You're gonna be able to bridge in and out. All that bridging that everyone complains about, like you're gonna have an AI agent do it. It's not like it's just contract calls. Like this isn't that.
That
hard.
actually is a contrarian view.
Yeah, that is, if it's bridge risk, as long as the bridges are secured by Ethereum L1 and you have the security guarantees of L1, that is going to be abstracted away. That does not seem like that's a problem. It's a very easy like FUD thing. Wallet, it can be abstracted away at the wallet level. It can be abstracted away at, I mean, AI level. Just people can build like that. As long as assets are on Ethereum L1, we are future proofed for a better financial system. If we have 50 different L1s with different kinds of assets, I don't know. That's
Yeah, I think the funniest part about this thing is that the four people have asked this exact question to have all given four different answers. So we have no consensus on this. But looks like we just have to wait for some more of these things to launch to actually see in real life what happens. In terms of looking at the surface area for what you can do with implementing smart contracts in just Ethereum for the financial institution, it feels like the way you've kind of talked about it, the past answers has been like, we just want to tokenize assets, and it's obviously a massive market. No one can dispute that. But is that like the best we can do, is just representing something as a token and let people swap that easily? Or do we get to unlock actual new benefits and features that are not possible?
No, that's like yeah. Danny Ryan is like a dream to work with and one of the most like esteemed, principled people in the whole ecosystem. And the reason he could have done a lot of things. The reason he came to be a co-founder of Etherealize is because he was like, we need to build utility and real use cases for tokenized assets. So yeah, that's a prime mission. And first we had to get the assets onto ETH L1, but yeah, there will be applications. I love the app layer. Like I'd love for the next 10 years of Etherealize to be the app layer, but the first year has to be get all the institutions, get all the assets, get everything into this ecosystem. But no, I can think of a billion. Wall Street has created financial instruments for their entire existence. Like financial instruments are just smart contracts. So it's not going to be hard to create amazing applications from ETF.
Applications are the same as just different instruments here, as like just like exotic kind of types of bundles. Is that the same definition?
Bundles, trading, like derivatives, everything. Like you can create real use cases that are not possible in today's financial system using smart contracts. So if you have the assets, everything else is possible. If we don't have the assets, then again, we're solutions looking for problems. But yeah, we will be creating utility for tokenized assets. It's that is a prime directive. It's not just tokenize things as a vanity metric.
And mostly for my curiosity, what are the steps involved in tokenizing an asset? Because the tech part we can understand, but what about the legal side of this?
That's the dirty work that I want to do. That the people like, yeah. I mean, we have.
I have no idea.
We have big legal teams. We have big like. It is cool that we got called to Congress to go testify about the Clarity Act. Like we have a presence in DC now, so it's a lot of things. I mean, we have to do regulatory work. We have to do legal work, but I want to do. I mean, it's all a puzzle. I mean, it's all a solvable puzzle. But the good
does it mean like we need frameworks too to let people do this easily, or do we just not have a good way of doing that?
Yeah, we need frameworks. We can define the frameworks. Like it's the most open the SEC will ever be. It's the most open the administration will ever be. As long as we're responsible, as long as we like self-police and mean well and actually want to create good things, there is an opening for it. Again, I just think the window's open. Either it goes a bad way and all these like random tokenized wrappers and everything blow up and this technology never goes anywhere, or we meaningfully change the financial system for good forever. And yeah, I feel a lot of pressure do the latter. So yeah, we're tackling all fronts, not just engineering, because that's ironically might be the easiest part.
Yeah.
No, it's
Absolutely.
yeah,
Like convincing other people on the legal side is probably the harder one here.
but it's possible now.
Yes.
So I'm pretty bulled up by that.
I mean, I think that's a perfect note to end on, because I think this is the hope we've been looking for, and this is the right window of opportunity. So
Thanks, man.
Vivek, thank you so much, and please give him a big round of applause.